Hey, I'm Chase, and this is All Things Rum. Today, we're looking at the 0.5 liter SMACO, the 1 liter Dedepu. We're going to do a re-review of one of my most popular videos. We're also going to talk about whether these will kill you. Okay, now the reason I'm re-reviewing these is because, again, on that most popular video that I have like 80,000 views on in 6 months, I've had so many people just absolutely blast that they're safe, nobody's gonna do this, nobody's gonna do that, but really, what's the truth behind it? That's what we're gonna get into today. I am gonna re-review these, and I'm also gonna give you some tricks, some tips, and some do's and don'ts while using them. Now, first, right off the bat, should you use these? If you're not a certified diver, the answer is no, you shouldn't. I'm gonna get that one right out of the way. However, if you choose to buy these, which anybody can, to include non-certification divers, if you wanna buy these, well, you have the freedom to do so. That's what we're doing here today. Today, we're gonna go over some of that stuff if you're not certified, if you don't understand. Last thing I wanna do is for you to kill yourself on these because you just don't know, or you think you know, but you really don't. So first, let's talk about exactly what these are. This SMACO, this is the 0.5 liter. Basically, this has been around for a very long time. A very well-known American-made company is Spare Air, and you can buy these Spare Airs for about $350 to $400. I can tell you that this SMACO is a fraction of the price. And there are some pros and cons to paying a fraction of the price. One being, I've had an issue with this regulator at the top. I've had an issue with it leaking. Is it because of quality control and because it's cheaper? I really don't know. I've been able to sort of fix it and mod it myself. However, if you don't know what you're doing, are you really gonna be modifying any type of regulators, any type of valves, any type of anything that helps regulate compressed air that goes into your lungs while under the water? Well, probably not. So it's a fraction of the price. Yes, that's what makes this very appealing to people who just want to breathe underwater. Not only does it make it appealing to be able to breathe underwater, but they sell this in a kit. Let's just go over the kit real quick and then we'll hop into the 1 liter. Now the kit comes in an aluminum case. Now the aluminum case, you have both the top regulator, the 0.5 liter bottle, you have a high capacity, high pressure, it looks like a bicycle pump, and it comes with sometimes different filtering systems, and you see up in the upper right hand corner, it also came with, well, not this one, but the Dedepu came with a valve that you can fill these things directly off of a scuba tank, which I can tell you is far easier than the bicycle pump method. Now, the bicycle pump is not hard to use. You can see if you pull off one of the rubber nipples, either on the 0.5 or the 1 liter, you can see that it has just a simple air pressure clip that sort of just connects easily to the end of it. You use a valve at the bottom of the pump. You make sure that it's closed completely, then you can pump up. The 0.5 liter takes about 400 pumps. And I can tell you that you can really feel when that pressure is building up inside the tank, you can really feel it on that bicycle pump. Can't use it for 400 pumps straight though. You can feel that the bicycle pump gets extremely hot as it's sort of pumping up because it is high pressure, and with pressure comes heat. So you want to do maybe 50 pumps at a time. Then once you're done, you want to make sure that you go to the bottom of the pump and you release the air that's left in the line. If not, you're going to blow the line and it's going to be extremely difficult to replace. Also expensive, so why when you could easily just go to the bottom? It's the same for the 1 liter. Has a nipple on the outside. Make sure the top valve is closed because this has an external regulator that actually is attached to a hose, not just attached to the top. Want to make sure that top is closed or in the off position, and then you're going to do the exact same thing. Now this takes about 1,100 pumps. Now you could say, well, Chase, if the 0.5 liter takes about 400 pumps, why does the 1 liter take about 3 times as much? Well, because it does. And math. And I'm not going to get into it. It doesn't really matter. It takes about 1,100 pumps. Trust me, I counted it. I could go through the science behind it, but it just is unnecessary at this point. No, if you buy this, 1,100 pumps, we'll say 1,000 pumps, and 400 pumps for the small one. And we're going to talk about how long these last under the water, because just because this is 1 liter and twice as much as this doesn't mean it's going to last twice as long. We'll hop into that in just a minute. Now, when filling it from a tank, that is where this baby comes in. It hops on the top of a tank, clips to the end, screws in, and then you can, again, make sure the valve is closed off, and then it fills up. You can see right here that it fills up pretty easily. Takes about 45 seconds to fill up a 1 liter and about 30 seconds to do the 0.5 liter. But if you're not certified, either in PADI or any other type of open water certification or any type of scuba certification, then you're not going to be able to go to a dive shop and actually get a dive tank. So that is the easiest way, is to use this. However, that is going to be something that, you know, only a scuba diver is actually going to be able to get. Most scuba divers aren't going to use this anyway, because a lot of them have their own gear, and if they don't, they can go rent gear and be under the water for 45 minutes, an hour, not what we're going to talk about in just a minute. Let's talk about some safety when using these, either the 0.5 liter or the 1 liter. Well, while under the water, you want to make sure, because you're breathing compressed air, you do not surface fast or while holding your breath. Now, a lot of people are arguing with me back and forth on that video I talked about, and they're like, oh, it doesn't really matter. You can do this and you can do that. Well, you know, even if I'm breathing compressed air at the bottom of a 12-foot pool, if I hold my breath coming up, it can still overexpand my lungs and cause injury, because under the water, I am breathing compressed air. I'm not just breathing normal air at 1 atmosphere like we are now. Now, the deeper I go down, the more atmospheres I go down, and the more compressed the air is entering into my lungs, which is why I'm telling you that if you use these, do not go past 30 feet. Period. Don't do it. I would set 25 feet as my limit in depth. Now, you're still within an atmosphere under the water at 33 feet. And the further down you get, once you surpass that atmosphere, you get into 2, 3, 4 atmospheres. Trust me, this thing isn't gonna last more than a breath. And then you're gonna come up and you're gonna overexpand your lungs. You're gonna get the bends and all this other stuff. Well, you're not really gonna get the bends because you're not breathing underwater for a long period of time. I digress. But you could overexpand your lungs, and you don't wanna cause any issues. Now, another safety tip, again, not deeper than 25 to 30 feet. Now, how can you regulate how deep you are? Well, the Citizen ProMaster Diver here, the Aqualand version, does have a depth sensor right there, and it will tell you just how deep you are. Also, while under the water, one of the safety features you can use is the timing bezel. Now, there's a lot of things you can use the timing bezel for, but if you know that, you know, you've used these in the past, and you know that, hey, this one only lasts 7 minutes with my SAC rate, my breathing rate. So if it only lasts 7 minutes or 8 minutes, I can go ahead and I can give myself that much time and then watch it count backwards, and then guess what? I'm good. Another thing that I really like about the 1 liter is the fact that it has the pressure gauge of the internal pressure on the bottle. That's not on my face. That's very important. I do not like this simply because I need to pull it out of my mouth to be able to look to see how much is left in this. Last thing I want to do is be 20 feet under the water, go be nothing left, and then have to go 20 feet, probably because most people are going to be panicking at that point. So they're going to be swimming to the surface as fast as humanly possible while causing damage to their lungs, right? It's just not a good thing. One of the downfalls that I really think about this one is the fact that you have to take it out of your mouth to be able to read what pressure is left. Now, this under the water lasts me about 5 minutes. And I'm very comfortable under the water. A lot of people aren't comfortable under the water. A lot of people get less comfortable the deeper they go. Now, that also includes how much activity or how much exercise you're pushing out under the water. A lot of people who are comfortable under the water tend to know that they don't have to push as hard while swimming. Like fins. I'm going to go over a fins video coming up in the future and the difference between long fins, short fins, floppy fins, stiff fins, and why you should choose which one. Well, if I have a fin set that I'm completely comfortable with, that I know I could go pretty easily under the water or comfortably swim under the water appropriately, then I know that, well, 5 minutes, I can see a lot under the water. But if I choose the wrong set of fins, if I'm out of shape, if I'm excited, if I'm breathing faster, well, this is gonna go from 5 minutes to like 2.5. You really don't understand just how much we take for granted oxygen or air as we breathe it in because it's abundant as opposed to not abundant in the least bit. So keep that in mind also. Now, while surfacing, my recommendation, not only could you use the Aqualand ProMaster Diver, which actually has an ascent alarm, which is very loud as you're going up too fast, it'll start beeping to tell you to slow down. Well, a rule of thumb is if you are surfacing, you either have to do one of two things. You either have to breathe out constantly. Some people say do two, like two, as you're ascending, right? Or just keep a nice steady breath as you're ascending and do not move past the bubbles traveling to the surface. That is sort of a rule of thumb. Don't exceed the speed of the bubbles going to the surface. That's extremely easy to remember when you're under the water. That will keep you at a steady pace going up. Don't struggle to get to the surface. Simply fin stroke at a very nice, slow pace to the surface. So keep that stuff in mind. Also, when you're under the water, you're gonna need a weight belt. Some people really don't realize, unless you're experienced under the water, is that while you have this floaty thing and this floaty thing on your body itself wants to be buoyant when it's full of oxygen. As you're breathing in, your lungs are full of oxygen and you will tend to be more buoyant. You need to offset your buoyancy with weights. So you have to have a weight belt also while diving. Now, some people really do not like having a weight belt on while under the water because they think they're gonna sink. Well, it's a possibility, but if you have fins on, 8 pounds, I think, is what I use to offset. I have to look at my weight belt, is what I use to offset my buoyancy for the 1 liter, which is the largest one. You can actually see here in the pool that I'm a little over buoyant. I could lose a pound and I would probably be neutrally buoyant, but you can see that I'm sort of bouncing off the bottom. But that's something you're gonna need to consider is a weight belt while using this, even for recreational use. Now, if I tell you that this lasts for 4 minutes or 5 minutes under the water, then how long does the 1 liter last? Well, honestly, if I'm swimming around quite a bit, the 1 liter actually only lasts me about 6.5 to 7 minutes. 6.5 to 7 minutes. Now let that sink in for just a minute. I just put 1,100 pumps into this thing and I want to go out and use it off the beach. And I only get 7 minutes under the water. Most people can hold their breath if you train yourself for 3 minutes, which is this. You could just hold your breath and you don't have to worry about anything. 6.5 to 7 minutes. Now, I did test this while sitting here at the house, and I just sat and I just breathed at a constant, relaxed pace, and I was able to get about 9.5 minutes out of just sitting here on my garage desk and breathing in at a constant, steady rate. So you can see that me, someone who is in shape, I like to run, we're getting a Peloton, so I'm gonna be biking too. I'm not in the worst of shape by any means, but if you see some of those people out there diving off the shore, they're in far worse shape than I am, and I can tell you that these aren't gonna last nearly as long as they are for me or even my buddy who's a dive master. So let's talk about how they work. Now let's talk about the 0.5 liter first. Now this is a single stage regulator, has a pressure gauge, and it does have a silicone mouthpiece on the back. Has a purge valve on the top, so if I wanted to breathe, basically if I was underwater, I just need to put this in my mouth and start breathing. I need you to breathe in because the valve inside will open up and allow air to come in as I create a negative pressure inside of this. There's barely anything in here because I didn't feel like spending 400 pumps and pumping this up. But very easy to use. While under the water, you want to hit the purge valve to purge any water out. Or if you start going under, you can and actually breathe out through the bottom and it will kind of push all that water out so then you can start breathing in through this. Now the 1 liter I find far more fun because I can be under the water for a little longer. This I think is a complete waste of time. You'll see Snorkel, SMACO, Dedepu, everybody has these. And this just is not worth the money. If you're gonna buy any of this, might as well double the size and get a quarter of the breathing time. So this right here is, again, 1 liter. This is the Dedepu. Now the Dedepu, this with this, because these came together in a sort of a nice little kit, was about 150 bucks. Not too bad. I already had the SMACO that had the pump and everything else. That was about 300 bucks. I would have rather just got this and then got the pump separately. I don't like using the pump. I would only use it as a last resort because the air tastes oily. And I can tell you that if you have an oil metallic taste in your mouth while you're breathing, it just doesn't feel healthy or safe. So I would just not use it unless you have to. But it's your choice, it's your body. If you're not certified, you bought it anyway. So who am I to tell you what to breathe in? So the way this works is it has a knob on the side that says open. So you open it up, right? Now it allows pressure from inside the cylinder to go inside of the tube that goes to your regulator. Also has a purge valve except on the front. And as you put this in your mouth, you can either do the same thing, either breathe out, or you can hit the purge and purge out everything that's inside of here. If it's water, then you just start breathing like normal. Extremely easy to use. Then, once you're done, close it up, purge the rest out, and that's it. Really, these things are extremely easy to use. Again, we'll go back over some safety features real quick, just so you don't go out and kill yourself. Would I recommend these? Sure, for certified divers. Would I recommend you buying these if you're not? No. For the 1 liter. But that one is a complete waste of time. It's a waste of money. Now, what are these good for? Are these good for pedaling around on the shore of a beach? Sure. My recommendation would be to snorkel out there, see what you want to look at, and then with your Citizen ProMaster Aqualand diver with a depth sensor, go down a little bit, test it out. Again, if you have the high pressure pump, you can pump it back at your hotel room or your house after you test it out a little bit in the water. My recommendation is to take it in a pool first. Take it in a pool, get comfortable with it. Get comfortable with the safety stuff that I'm talking about. There's no difference between 12 feet and 20 feet except the column of water above you, like the depth of the water above you. There's no difference when it comes to pressure. Might as well test it out at 12 feet in a pool or even 6 feet in a pool. Remember the safety I talked about. Do not surpass 25 to 30 feet. I'd say 20 feet because guess what? You really don't realize how quickly 25 and 30 are to each other. You think, well, 5 feet, oh, I'm 5'8". Yeah, but you don't realize how quickly that goes like that in water if you're not paying attention, especially if you don't understand your buoyancy. Another reason why you should test it out in the pool. So you get comfortable understanding what your buoyancy is, because the last thing you don't want to do is go out there and sink right to the bottom. And then you realize, oh shoot, I'm at 40 feet. I'm at 40 feet. This is no good. This is only going to last me 2 minutes. And I want to get to the surface and not get injured. So keep that stuff in mind. Again, while sending, Do not go past the bubbles that you're blowing out of your regulator. That is just a rule of thumb while ascending or surfacing. That should keep you at least somewhat safe. Also, either do one of two things. Either make sure that you have enough air left inside of this, which is a reason why I like this better than this. Because if I'm breathing in this and I take it out to look and I'm like, oh crap, I only am at 500. This goes up to 3,000 PSI. This is 3,000 PSI also. This is only 3 cubic feet. So if I'm breathing this in and I realize, oh crap, I'm at 500 PSI, I need to start going up. Most people aren't gonna have the wherewithal as they're putting this back in their mouth to breathe out. They're going to purge it again. And then that's using a breath that you could have used to ascend as you're going up. That's why I really like this, because as you're going through, you can turn it on your body. Do not have it on your back, have it on the front so that you can roll the cylinder over and actually see what the pressure is in the cylinder. Again, and then start ascending slowly and calmly while either breathing slowly and calmly, do not hold your breath, or breathing out the entire time. Now, if you like videos and videos like this, hit that subscribe button down below, leave a comment of the content you guys would like to see on this channel. I have a lot of videos coming up in the future, a lot more watch stuff, a lot more diving stuff, a lot more electronics reviews. So make sure you guys are hitting that notification bell so you guys can be notified when I drop my next video. Till next time.